I question everything. I don't take anything for face value. If I don't know something, I would immediately go look it up. Find an article, a video, a TED Talk, a NPR. But if something just doesn't sit right in my gut, I always go search for references and check more references. But why are Black Americans selling their souls for clicks? I don't know, but let's get into it.
Slavery was a legal transaction. Nobody in Europe or nobody in this country had any right or any reason to abolish slavery if they didn't want to.
Is that Black Americans are hypocrites. We are hypocrites, right? So
because conservatives believe in hard work. We believe in going to work and working for what you got, not asking for handouts.
Wouldn't you argue that they should be qualified for those positions and not just placed there because of their skin color?
I've never disapproved that.
Okay, so let's say...
That's not what DEI is.
Okay.
Black people feel safer amongst Black people, when the truth is they are actually more in danger when they're around Black people. And that's unfortunate. It's sad that I'm saying this, but it's the case, and I have to say it because it's true, okay? Black people are killing each other at a vast, crazy rate.
So we got to talk about former super ghetto mayor Tiffany Henyard, who is no longer in public office. Yeah. You are modern day gladiators. These athletes are modern day gladiators. To be scared of police officers, you really should be scared of other Black people. The cops are the least of your worries. You talking about who to be scared of?
I think that a better title for that movement would be Black Deaths Matter. They seem to protest, they seem to rage, and they seem to ruin, and they seem to support violence.
If you have made it this far into the video, ensure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Mo the Mayor, and this is the Political Black Guy channel. Thank you for joining.
Black America is the way it is because of hip-hop music and the Great Society and that kind of stuff. And I think the uncomfortable reality is a big part of it is intrinsic. One of the big arguments against the abolition of slavery in the 1860s is that, when Europeans colonized Africa, they hadn't discovered the wheel. There's no two-story buildings. There's no writing. There's no written language. Missionaries had to go to Africa in the last century and invent it for the African people because there's no recorded history. They didn't have writing.
So Egypt is not in Africa?
Well, Egypt is a different race. The Egyptians were not Black.
Okay, but you said when they went to Africa, so I just want to...
The interior of Africa in the late 19th century.
So Nick Fuentes went on the Candace Owens show and completely spewed false racial rhetoric, saying Africa was underdeveloped, they had no writing, no history, no innovation, and they were basically still living in the Stone Ages, which is not true at all. Africa definitely had established trade routes. They had textile productions. They were iron craftsmen. They had boats, which they were able to navigate along the trade routes on canals. They had vaccines. They were able to establish dental surgery, where they pulled out root canals. They were even mining. How do you think that diamonds were found? This is why I say question everything you hear. But I've already known all of this because I am actually a Black man who grew up Black, who went to a historically Black school. My mother is a Black educated woman. I grew up in a Black neighborhood. So I already understood this. And I already know the only reason that Africans did not have wills is because it just wasn't environmentally feasible for them.
Africans south of the Sahara did not use the wheel, and in this video I want to explore why that might have been. First of all, I want to address right away a couple of guesses that some people might make. Some people might guess that Africans did not adopt the wheel because they lacked innovation or, technological creativity, but we know from historical and archaeological evidence that that's not true because they had other technologies. They had textile production, they worked with iron. When Europeans arrived in Africa, the African rulers were quite eager to acquire their firearms and even produce firearms locally. So we can rule that out right now. I mean, they were perfectly fine creating and adopting technologies. Another guess that someone might make would be that, well, people of sub-Saharan Africa were cut off from the rest of the world and therefore did not have the opportunity to borrow technologies from Europe and Asia. But we also know that that's not true because large parts of Africa were, in fact, connected with the rest of the world through trade networks. In West Africa, they were connected to the Mediterranean through this Trans-Saharan trade network. And in East Africa and parts of Southern Africa, they were tied into the Indian Ocean trade network. If you look in between those two extreme parts of Eurasia, in between in the Middle East, Central Asia, and then extending over into North Africa, North India, northern China, the preferred mode of transportation was the camel. And in fact, it was so preferred that in many of those regions, wheeled transport did not exist at all. And the reason for that was very simple. Camels were better, basically. They could carry more weight, and they could do it more cheaply. Camels were easier to procure. They were cheaper to construct. You don't construct a camel. They were cheaper to maintain, cheaper to operate, and they did not require roads to be maintained the way wheeled transport would require. So it was far and away a superior technology.
So even with all this information out there, even with ChatGPT, these brothers, these black conservatives, go ahead and agree with Nick Fuentes saying he's right. Black people have low IQs. Africa was underdeveloped. Europeans saved them. And let me be clear. Just because you are black does not mean you have a low IQ or you are mentally inferior. This is what you call eugenics, which science has debunked time and time again. If you go look at the Cartier family YouTube, these brothers have multiple videos downing their own people. This is why I do not think or believe in black conservatives. Because they don't discuss no policies, no economic solutions, or nothing to bring the society together. Just MAGA talking points downing black people, which is insane to me. I don't understand how they do that. But the question is, where did this come from? And the short answer is clickbait. YouTube follows.
They will never be as smart and advanced as the white man. That's basically what he said.
Wow. And you agree with that?
Well, looking at different things in my life, looking at neighborhoods, the community, looking at the countries, looking at what black people are doing right now today, even with the resources. It's hard not to, buddy. That's what point I'm at. And I want to be labeled as one of the most extreme ever. Actually, the pastor today said, "Ain't gonna lie, bro, y'all be saying some crazy stuff on that channel." I'm not gonna sit here and be oblivious to what's actually going on in the world. I see Africa, I see Europe, I see America, I see all these different countries. So I'm not gonna sit here and be oblivious to what he said. Why is it like this? I don't know, but it's hard to argue with Nick's point here. I'm just saying it is. I'm not gonna say that I don't agree with it. But
bro, listen.
Hold on. Did Europe? It was at one point in time. Nobody had no resources. Yeah. They created the resources.
Yeah.
Oh, black people got finessed from the white. All that. So y'all said they were smarter than y'all. That's basically what y'all said. They finessed us and all that. Africa ain't got free ways.
I just find this just so disheartening, misleading, and damaging to the black community. Because when you come up with this propaganda downing the black community, it just allows people to feed into it. Because if you go look at the comments on some of these pages of these black conservatives downing African Americans, you will understand how people really feel about us. And they're just profiting off of it. But thank you for joining the Political Black Guy YouTube channel. I'm Mo the Mayor. And if you have anything to say, ensure to put it down in the comments. Let me know what you think and what else you would like for me to talk about. Peace.